Welcome to the Partnership with Purpose podcast, where we explore ways to engage communities in research and other academic projects. My name is Juasmi Tapa. In this episode, we again hear from Forrest Williams, a former student and also Director of Administrative Service at the City of Caldwell. This time, he talks about his experience as a community partner. He shares how the city tested new ways to engage residents using virtual platforms. He also speaks about his appreciation of working with students. Now let's hear the conversation. So after completing Rockport in 2018 actually, with Forrest's class, 2 years later, we were able to work with City of Caldwell. And City of Caldwell is a community 30 minutes away from College Station, small town with 4,000 population, and they had been trying to work with us, and we had been trying to create a partnership for a long time. Due to the limited capacity in terms of staff time in the city, we weren't able to really finalize that partnership for a while. And in 2020, when Forrest joined the team, we were finally able to work with the city. And Forrest's experience working in a project with Texas target communities before and his professional experience as a planner, this was a great opportunity for us to expand our process and also provide some guidance and new opportunities for our planning students here at Texas A&M. So Forrest, if you'd like to talk more about your experience in this project and what was done by students to respond to your need.
Sure. So as G said, the City of Caldwell had tried to do a downtown design plan a few years back before 2020, and they just couldn't get the right pieces to get it going. And so I joined the City of Caldwell in February of 2020, right before COVID started. And as everyone knows, that was a difficult time to manage because lots of changes in how we did things and when people could be in the office and things like that. Obviously, since Caldwell was a small town, there wasn't as many regulations, restrictions that were put in place. And so we were kind of able to still kind of manage our day-to-day lifestyle. But when we started this project with the Envision Caldwell plan and working with Texas Target Communities, it shifted the whole way that we would do community engagement for the comprehensive plan. So when we started this project, we had to really think about, okay, what are the ways that we can implement some kind of community engagement, but in a virtual format, which Texas Target Communities had never really done before because, all of the other times they could just go into the community and make those connections in person, and doing it virtually was a new experience. And we decided to use multiple formats. And so one of the first things that we did was partner with Social Pinpoint, which is a online community engagement software. And there's different tools that you can utilize within Social Pinpoint that were pretty similar to the tools that we would use in an in-person format. And so this was a good digital way for us to implement community engagement in the city. And I think one of the biggest challenges that we had in starting this process was the City of Caldwell is an older population, and therefore they're not as keen on getting online or using social media. And the city didn't have any kind of social media presence until we started this process. And so it was really difficult trying to get the word out that we were actually working on this plan since we couldn't meet in person. So we did lots of mail outs and utility bills and sending out surveys. And so the students actually created the exact same online tools that we had, but in a paper format so that we could get that shared to the community in multiple formats that were comfortable for them. And then we took that data on the paper side and had interns put those survey results back into the online format so that we had a final data collection depository for everything. And looking at the different items, the students were able to analyze places that people like to see in the community, the suggestions that they have on improvements that could be made, and then areas that were just not, meeting the status quo and weren't seeing any improvements. And so all of those pieces combined, the students were able to prepare a community engagement report. And so that report was able to take everyone's input and put it into one single document, which was kind of a different format that the students hadn't really done before. It was more so, we would do a presentation to the community and, just tell them what we gathered and what we analyzed, and then move forward into the next steps. And so then looking at the next pieces from the data collection and going into the planning process, the students were able to take all of that data and make sure that, we were capturing all of the community that we could in the format that we had. In April of 2021, we were able to actually do a in-person public meeting, and that was the first one that we were able to do. And so we were kind of used it as a way to take a step back from where we had gone in the online engagement, and then make sure that we were able to get that data, consolidated into what the needs that the community wanted to see. And so the students had prepared, all of the resources and everything, but they participated online while we had the community come to the Civic Center. And during that process, one of the students, Carlo, he was very involved in leading this plan from his class cohort side. And one of the big takeaways that he got was the civic engagement, and how doing the workshops and doing different interviews with the stakeholders, he was able to get more comfortable in public speaking and learning how to communicate well with community members and public leaders, civic leaders, to make sure that, he was able to gather all of the needs, but then also take that back and consolidate that data. And so the students really learned a lot from that process. And while it was challenging because everything was virtual, I think overall the outcome was really great, and it set Caldwell up as a model city for how community engagement could be done differently. And from that, the students were also able to do different engagement and service learning projects. And one of the biggest ones or the most visible ones that we can see is the mural that the students were able to create on the side of our City Hall building. And it takes pieces of the Czech heritage and using the quilt squares to kind of bring back that cultural heritage of the community. Some of the other things that were neat to see from that process was the excitement that the students had in being able to have a real world community impact. And they have a lot of passion and knowledge. Students think outside the box, and they don't always have the same mindset that a older community person might have. And so they can kind of bring a fresh new idea to the table that might not be something that was ever thought of before. And from just doing this whole experience, it was nice to be able to be a mentor to the students and serve as a guide on, what the community likes, what they don't like, and kind of navigate through those different challenges, since the students couldn't be in person to actually, make those formal connections and relationships with the community.
You just heard how a small community overcame many obstacles to envision a path forward. If you'd like to support low-capacity communities in Texas, consider donating to our Good Neighbor Fund. You can learn more about the program on our website, collaborations.tamu.edu/txtc. You can email us at texastargetcommunities@tamu.edu and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. See you next time.